It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in, middle of the week, this Wednesday, the 19th of January. Weather is coming, just to let you know, cloudy right now. Going to start raining here in about an hour, and then it's going to get real cold tonight. So just be aware if you haven't heard that yet. There was a big story yesterday by Dennis Dodd from CBS. It talked about the Big 12 that will, starting in 2023, divide into a 2 7-team divisions. From now they have 10, right? And they play 1 versus 2 in the championship game, and they got an exception to do that. And they will go to, with 14 teams, a 7-team one division, a 7-team second. They're not sure whether they're going to do it with geography. They are talking as if they will put Texas in one division and Oklahoma in the other division. Now, since they're both going to leave, they could be mean and put them both in the same division, so that means one of them doesn't play in the championship game. But I think they're doing that because it would be easily replaceable by Memphis and Boise. Now, I'm looking from the glass half filled. There's a lot of different ways you can take this story. And honestly, there are some that say, well, this tells you Memphis and Boise are coming in, or they're going to add 2 teams for sure. I don't really know that says that, because they could go, like a lot of the leagues, they could go to 12 teams and 2 6-team divisions, because that is the rule. If you're 12 or more teams, you have to break off into divisions, have a championship game that way. I would love to think Memphis and Boise are in. Certainly don't know. The other question to this is, they're starting this in 23, which means it could be 12 at that very moment, because Texas and Oklahoma could leave. And a lot of people feel that way. That might be one of the topics we'll talk about with Brett Norsworthy. Here's the deal. If they leave before 25, when the television contract is up, the Dennis Dodd story says this would be a 9-figure payoff. 9 figures, by my mathematics, means we're in the 100 million category. 100 million. Now, I know all these schools are doing quite well. In fact, Michigan just paid $500 million, or thereabouts, $490 million, to settle with hundreds. Literally, it was 1,050 people who will get a share of the $490 million settlement because of the sports doctor, whose name is Robert Anderson, who allegedly abused 1,050 people over 37 years. It is amazing the culture that was going on in that 37-year period. This guy was enabled to do that. But $490 million is the settlement the university will pay. So there is big money at these schools, and they may be able to do that. Maybe there will be a negotiation with the different conferences. But that's a lot of money, 9 figures to pay off to leave a league early when you could stay. You won't make quite as much as you would, because I guess they're saying when it's all said and done that the SEC teams are going to get around $70 million from a new deal. Now, that may start after 25. I'm not 100% of all the numbers, but it is certainly interesting. And it does say if you've got 7 and you're leaving a setup there with Oklahoma and Texas, each in different divisions, it would be easy to slide Memphis into one, Boise into the other. And I've seen the breakdown. There is a more Western, and then there is a more Eastern. You could put Memphis with Cincinnati and UCF in that Eastern segment, and Boise in the West that has a lot of the Texas schools, including Houston. So and BYU. So it's easy to do. Will it happen? I don't know. It's anybody's guess. So in talking to a bunch of different people about this story earlier today, it just behooves Memphis to continue to commit to excellence, whether that's financial, staffing, whatever it may be, to commit to excellence for the next few years, because it's there. It could be had. It seems to me. And I do like the hiring of the two new coordinators. I've said this yesterday, but Barnes, and what is it? I always forget. Is it Crimshaw? What is the Marshall OC? Jay Morgan, you're quick on that. Look at him. Fingers are flying to get the correct name. He's a quarterback whisperer. Cramsey, I'm sorry. I'm going to get to know him, though. Cramsey. It sure seems they are working in the right direction. The Grizzlies and Milwaukee tonight. I don't understand this. No Bain, no Anderson. Anderson was just in protocol, wasn't he?
Not very. Maybe it was a little while ago now. I thought it was over a month ago. But
was it really? I thought it was just 2 weeks ago that he was out.
It might have been less than a month ago. But either way, it's his second time being in there in a short period of time. And Bain being out is a huge factor, especially when you already have Dylan Brooks out. That's
right.
That's the type of not to diminish Ja being out at all, but that's the type of handicap that the Grizzlies haven't faced yet this year.
Well, you can be without Bain if Brooks is there, and
right.
You can be without Brooks if Bain is there. So I am with you now. Is it Zaire Williams you're putting a lot of pressure on?
Jitty. Maybe John Conchar.
Or Conchar. And, Conchar has come through. But, that is tough. And it goes to show you that the NBA, in my estimation, without any scientific data in front of me, the NBA appears to be the most stringent of all the leagues that we have seen when it comes to being serious about COVID protocol. If there's contact tracing, buddy, you're sitting out. Because I'm not sure was Kyle Anderson the last time he was in the COVID protocol, was he sick? They never say.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, maybe I don't think it was COVID protocols, because you saying that made me just realize he was on the bench a lot of that time he was out. So it might have been a natural injury.
No, I don't think so, because I've read the story that he had protocol. Go double check that. But I'm pretty certain that he was. Bain, I'm assuming, was asymptomatic because he played out of his mind on Monday, and then yesterday he's got COVID. So, it's not to say it couldn't happen. I just think that the league takes it so seriously. You know what boggles my mind? And I'm not saying this to put down the NCAA at all, but I am amazed that when the football championship game was played, the Omicron portion of COVID was raging. I mean, it was at its peak, and there was not one college football player on either Georgia or Alabama that had any COVID issues.
No one left their hotel room for a week. And you're actually exactly right. Anderson was out January 2nd, entered protocols, and missed 4 games.
So he missed 4 games, and we're talking
that's 2 weeks,
17,
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
2.5 weeks ago. That's it. So I am saying to you, they're really stringent about it, and maybe they need to look at the way Georgia and Alabama handled it, or isn't the NHL, didn't they just announce yesterday that if you're asymptomatic, you're not going to be tested?
And the NHL, the NBA kind of taken the mantle from the NHL as being the most stringent, because for a while there, they weren't even allowing cross-country travel. You weren't allowed to go from Canada to the United States and vice versa. So the NHL changing that probably is going to force the NBA's hand a little bit, I would think.
I don't know if it will or not. I mean, they are pretty to themselves. They're set in their way. I mean, Adam Silver is, first off, he's a great commissioner. And secondly, it's worked to the point where they're allowed to have games in the fans in the stands. And I don't think they want to backtrack on that. And I have no idea about the NHL, which already had a pause, remember? And that's why they don't have an NHL All-Star game. And so I don't think the NBA is going to backtrack on that at all.
So Kyle Anderson was in health and safety protocols for that first game on January 4th. The 3 games after that, it was back soreness. So that's why he was on the bench for those games after that. Tyus Jones actually also just added out for tonight's game.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure if that's health and safety protocols or injury or not. I'll look right now. So that's a lot of guys out. And the Bucs are just now getting healthy. They just now got George Hill back. He came off the bench 2 games ago, started the game after that, played 30-something minutes. And the Bucs, one of the best teams in the NBA, clearly reigning champs. So it's going to be a tough game tonight.
Well, the Bucs are 6-point favorites at this very moment.
I took the Grizz. But I'm starting to regret it a little bit.
I think you should. But, if you got it at 6, that might be good. Oh, no, because it's going to go up if you took the Grizz, but you got it at 6, right?
Yeah, I did. But I tell you what, if you're playing, this is maybe a little inside gambling strategy, but if you're playing the DraftKings or the FanDuel Daily Fantasy lineups, I think John Conchar and D'Anthony Melton, you're going to get really good value on those guys tonight, and they're going to play a lot of minutes because they don't have any more guards out there.
No, they don't. No Tyus Jones, too. That is really, really tough. This could be a double-digit win for Milwaukee tonight. So the franchise record for the Grizzlies is 56 wins. The Grizzlies on this day have 31 wins.
You think they're going to catch it?
I think they have a chance. Their pace is 55. Their pace is 55. Now, and they have the second easiest schedule, according to some website that does this. I think it's Tankathon or something like that.
Oh, that Tankathon has all of those metrics.
Yeah. So they have the second easiest schedule left in the NBA. I think there's a real shot, provided they stay healthy or stay out of protocol.
Yeah, it might be something out of there. I mean, I guess if you win at this point, you're in good shape. But the teams behind them, the Jazz, I think, are playing really good basketball coming up. The Mavericks might be the hottest team in the NBA. They're top 5 in defense, and they already, Luke, all those guys on offense, they're unbelievable.
Right.
And they're starting to surge.
And Luke is only going to get better because he's getting in better shape.
Absolutely. And I think the Nuggets are also a team that are starting to get hot, too. So you look at those 3 teams sitting right behind the Grizzlies, basically all you can do is win because the rest of it might be out of your control a little bit. But 55, like you said, they're at 31. You win 50% of your games down the stretch, you got it.
All you got to do is win 25 games.
Yeah. Right over 500.
Then we're going to have the debate, is this the greatest Memphis team? And that will be a debatable thing. It really and truly will. Let's see how this all winds down. I do believe, honestly, they have a shot at winning a playoff series. I said that yesterday. Just depends on who that is. I would tell you if they're 4 and the Lakers move up to 5, I like them against the Lakers. I think the Lakers are old. I really do.
I think the thing, I agree 100%, but then it's kind of like betting against Belichick or Tom Brady or one of those guys. Picking against LeBron in the playoffs is a tough thing to do, especially if that. But
you should know your lesson from that this past week.
That's right.
Because Buffalo beat the heck out of Belichick.
That's
and
right.
Mac Jones.
So I remember the wound is still fresh, I suppose. But I think the big question for the Grizzlies, too, and the thing I'm most interested in, is they play a very I don't want to say complex because it's not like it's not actions other teams run, but they run a very in-depth breakdown offense. And that's, I think, what helps them to go on runs in the third quarter, maybe when other teams have starters out or against bench lineups, whatever the case might be. I think it's helped them to win a lot of these games. And I would like to see what that looks like because not a lot of teams do it in a 7-game series, playing against the same team every single night where it's the same actions they have to guard against. Maybe you get a few less opportunities to score in those run situations. So I think I'm really interested to see a playoff series. It's hard for me to predict what it would be like. You have a young team and an offensive scheme that not a lot of teams run. I'm very much looking forward to the playoffs, but I know we have a long way to go.
The physicality of the game changes in the playoffs.
So
they
much.
Let more stuff go. And you're right. You got to make adjustments during the series, and usually the more experienced teams who've been there before that understand the ferociousness of it all, they usually prevail because they've seen more and they are able to make those adjustments. But this team, especially on defense, I think gives them a chance in the playoffs because they are really good on D. I mean, look, what they did to the Bulls defensively the other day with 14 steals, I mean, come on. They really do a great job of switching, and they're prepared for what the other team brings, and the other team is going to bring the same thing for 7 games or 6 games or whatever it is. So I like them in at least one series, but we shall see, and we'll see where their seeding is because, again, it could be the matchup that you get in the first round that is a detrimental matchup. I don't know that I love a matchup with Dallas, to be honest, but I do like a matchup with Denver as long as Denver remains injured. And I like a matchup with the Lakers because I think the Lakers are definitely on the downside. I truly do. I'm going to bring this up with Brett because I know he'll have an appreciation, but the media world yesterday lost one of the classic voices of our time. His window wasn't as long as it might have been, but he was clearly a great football announcer. Ron Franklin, at the age of 79, who grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, and went to Ole Miss. He was the big game guy with Mike Gottfried when ESPN helped to elevate college football. So the game that Fowler and Herb Street do now, that was Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried for a number of years. Do you remember that?
I don't
Jamo?
At all. I recognized both of their pictures. I saw a picture of them on Twitter, but I don't recall them calling football games. I'm sure I heard it, but I just don't recall it.
Well, you are a young guy.
Yeah.
And I think he was going from ESPN maybe 2011, something like that. I'm trying to remember. Didn't end well for him there. There was some accusations that he left. So, maybe they were right. It's some inappropriate comments, I think, really is what ended up doing him in. But Franklin did the University of Texas for a number of years and then was elevated. He did the Texans for a little bit when they were in Houston, too. He had a beautiful and very distinct voice, and he was right on the money with his calls. And then Gottfried was one of those coaches that had become like one of the first ones, really, that was a coach that became a college analyst, and he was terrific. He really was. I actually was a student broadcaster when his brother, Joe Gottfried, was the coach of Southern Illinois University, and got to know Mike when he was at Murray State. He was a coach at Murray State, and he was really a good coach, too. Obviously very articulate as an interview, and then went on to greatness with Franklin. But Ron Franklin will clearly be missed. There is some NCAA legislation, I think I want to talk with Stats about this, too, that'll be voted on here in the next week or so, that is designed to protect schools from postseason bans, from financial penalties, from losing scholarships, and targeting coaches who are cheaters. So the onus would be on the coaches, who would then get fired rather quickly and not get their paydays. It does seem to be motivation for coaches not to cheat, but I'm not sure that it is motivation for schools to make sure they don't hire cheaters, because they wouldn't get penalized. They could go on to the next one, and their schools are not hurt. Tricky stuff. We'll talk about that. So we got Stats coming up at 10:25, or in just a little bit. And Jarvis Greer, as always, will join us at 10:42. So much that we can get into. Tigers tomorrow against SMU. Man, the Mustangs, have you seen this? They've won 10 of their last 11. They average 79 points a game, 13-4, 4-1, a 66 net. That's a big game for Memphis at home, because this is one of the teams that you're chasing for the bubble. Interesting for sure, and Memphis definitely needs a W. And another reminder, on Friday in this next time slot, we will chat with Tiger head coach Penny Hardaway. I'm sitting here in the Family Leisure Studios, and a reminder, floor model sale still going on. Still some floor models, but remember, once they're gone, that's it. I mean, they don't replace a floor model with another piece. Once the floor model's gone, it's going to be replaced with something from 2022. So you got to get there as quickly as you can. Check it out: theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball, air hockey, even shuffleboard tables, some pool tables too. And then there's the spas, there's the swimming pools right there for the getting. But you got to get there quick. And that's I-40 and Whidden Road. Family Leisure for the floor model sale, and where family and fun all come together. Back in just a minute. Brad Norsworthy is right around the corner.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your company going through a merger or downsizing and you feel your job is in jeopardy? Don't delay. Call ProResume, the #1 source for professional resumes in the Mid-South. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Hi, folks. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want to thank all of you who came to see us at Russell Brothers so that Christmas would be special for your lady. Thank you so much for the confidence and trust that so many of you have placed in Russell Brothers for over 37 years, and we're going to work even harder in 2022 to let you know how important you are. Whether you just need an $8 battery or a $20,000 diamond ring, you will receive the very best in beauty, quality, service, and value. Our exquisite gemstones, our fashionable designs, our huge array of fine jewelry will dazzle you and will help make you a hero in her eyes. Our warmest wish for you is a healthy and prosperous 2022, and when you want to let her know how very extraordinary she is, we invite you to come and see us at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins. After all, doesn't she deserve the very best?
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings, because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale, and you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios, grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers, everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
There's just something about sitting in the perfect neighborhood bar, the atmosphere that only a neighborhood bar can have. And that's what's so great about Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. This is a bar where you can relax, enjoy great food, great drinks, and most importantly, great people. Whether it's the friendly staff, likely to remember you the next time you walk in the door, or the friendly customers, people you're going to want to remember the next time you walk in the front door. Sweetgrass Next Door is the ideal place to watch a game or make new friends. The next time you want to enjoy some time out of the house, make it Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
You heard the man. We are brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. In my mind, they are the ones that set the bar. Easy to get to. Get on Lamar. It's Highway 78, the very first exit in Mississippi's Craft Road, so we're talking 10 minutes. Turn left. There you'll see Chris True and the gang. They've been together a long time. They've raised the bar. They've set the standard. And Chris will tell you, you will never pay more than sticker price. In these times with a shortage of new cars, a lot of companies are going way over sticker. Not at Homer Skelton Hyundai. I promise, go check them out. You'll thank me later. Always a pleasure to chat with my friend Brett Norsworthy. So many things to get to today. Did you see the story from Dennis Dodd on the Big 12 and the splitting to divisions starting in 23?
I did, Dave, and I think we're going to see a lot more divisional breakup and maybe even the SEC go into quad.
Some people presume that will open the door for sure that when Texas and Oklahoma leave, they're going to keep it at 7, and Memphis and Boise will be coming in, or 2 teams will be coming in. I'm going to try to go half full on this and say, oh, yeah, that's what I see. I really don't know.
We sure hope it.
But we do hope it. And the other thing that was pointed out in the Dennis Dodd story is the TV contract ends in 25. A lot of people are assuming Texas and Oklahoma will be part of the SEC in 23 after next year. But it is a very painful financial penalty. He says 9 figures, that's over $100 million. Do you believe that they'll wait till 25, or will in 23 Oklahoma and Texas be in the SEC?
Dave, Dennis Dodd lays it out pretty well, and I think everybody's almost resetting, almost a reboot, whether it's playoff expansion or any more conference realignment or how the divisions will be set up. And when the news broke in Hoover last summer, I really thought not last year, of course, not 21, but I even thought for 22, the 22 season, this one coming up come September, that OU and Texas would be in the SEC by then. I thought 23 was a slam dunk. 23 is not a slam dunk. At the earliest is going to be 25, the year that they actually can bolt. I think on July 1 of the summer of 2025, they are officially members of the SEC. It could be that long. Bob Bowlesby's done a good job, and other factors have done a good job of kind of gumming things up a little bit for the SEC. If the SEC, if they're able to extricate themselves from the current kind of gumming up process, not only will you see OU and Texas, I still think they're going to aim high for 2 more.
Oh, you do? And is that Clemson and like Michigan or Ohio State?
I think it's for sure Clemson, and I think the other one I think preferably would be a wow big name. Can you believe this? Yeah, I don't think it would be small ball. I think it would be holy cow! Look what the SEC just did. So
to me, that would have to be like I mentioned Michigan or Ohio State. You'd have to throw
Notre Dame.
USC or Notre Dame. Those are the 4 that come to my mind, USC or Notre Dame. Do you believe a school like USC would make that bolt?
Dave, I'm almost now, I would almost believe anything. I mean, because look what we've had in realignment. The very idea that Nebraska's in the Big Ten, the idea that Maryland's in the Big Ten, that Rutgers, that they're in the Big Ten, that Texas did something independent of OU, and that A&M couldn't stop it when they finally kind of garnered their independence from the other UT. In conference realignment, I would almost believe anything. Nothing would shock me. I mean, if tomorrow the announcement the SEC's adding Michigan and Ohio State, that wouldn't shock me. I don't think that's happening. I don't think Michigan is the most likely of those two prospects, but nothing would shock me. And you're seeing it kind of below the surface as well. You're seeing a lot of movement, Sun Belt, A-Sun, mostly NCAA tournament, automatic bid type leagues. A lot of that's going to look new next year. The OVC, we're not going to recognize next year.
No. Belmont even has bolted, and they're going to the Missouri Valley Conference, which lost Loyola. And I don't understand that move by Loyola, to be honest with you, but everything changes. The one thing for sure, everything changes, and people have to remember This is an evolving product. It never
Always.
ends. It never ends. It never ceases. My question for you
Now,
is
the best time for it is June for Sports Talk Radio. That's when we really want conference realignment.
I'm with you. I'm with you, brother, on that one. All right. Simple question, but complicated. Is this good for college football? If the SEC gets 16 that are just or more that are just all Cadillac names, is that really good for the game? Is it good for the other leagues? Is it good for the fans of the other leagues? What's your sense of that?
David, it's not. But one thing it would do, the SEC's not going to do it unless they know that college football bracket's going to expand. And with that expansion would be more at larges, and they're going to want to gobble up those. I don't think it's good, but it's inevitable. There's no stopping it. And when you talk the evolution of it, it really started with the contract with TVs in the early 80s.
Yep.
Then, of course, with Notre Dame and their NBC deal, and then with Coach Frank Broyles and Jerry Jones largely pushing to get Arkansas into the SEC. That started. I'm not saying that was quite the earthquake that last summer was. It wasn't. That was the biggest addition yet. It was bigger than Missouri and A&M coming in. It was bigger than Arkansas and South Carolina. They haven't played yet. They're going to. And these other conferences is going to happen. I know Cincinnati's very proud of their Big 12 status. UCF probably, as you explained, not as much, not as in your face about it as Cincinnati. But the day the Tigers get in the Big 12, the party will be on here, and I feel like that day's coming soon.
I would agree. The first time I read it in the notes, that was the first thing since that wasn't the first page, but it was up.
But it's close.
It was it
second
was close.
thing.
Yeah. It is crazy,
and I don't blame them because Cincinnati really got the raw.
They did.
Cincinnati got the raw end of the fall of the Big East as we knew it as a football league. They went to a Sugar Bowl as a member of the Big East.
I think
with Tony Pike.
If we go back and we really just look at it, college football changed forever. It goes back to I think the whole
Georgia
thing
and OU.
began with Georgia and OU. Mm-hmm. And what was that called? It was called the College Football
Alliance
or
Association.
I think it
CFA,
was the Alliance.
wasn't it?
I think it was the Alliance.
What was it?
I think
Association or Alliance.
Yeah, I think
and it was big. Chuck Ninus said it was the biggest thing of the 20th century in college football, even bigger than President Teddy Roosevelt summoning the chieftains of college football to the White House over the danger of the game. There were people dying on the field in the early part of the 20th century, and Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider that he was, recognized that we got a problem.
Well, we had to stop the flying wedge and things of that nature, and they did.
Exactly.
Yeah. That alliance really forged television and exposure, because the old way that the NCAA had it structured, and they were way back. Remember that you couldn't have only one team from each league could play in a bowl. It was so archaic, and you could only be.
That was more Big Ten Pac-8, but that's right. Notre Dame often would pass on going to a bowl.
The other aspect was you could only be on television one time.
Yeah, and in the decade of the 70s in Memphis, Tennessee, we would get one, maybe two games on a college football Saturday. That was it. And with that deal in the early 80s, it gave us the 11:30 WTBS game with Dave Neal and Tim Foley that eventually launched into Jimmy Rayburn's JP, and off we went. Now on a college football Saturday on what I call basic TV. I know it's cable and all that good stuff, but on basic TV, you're looking at from 11 to 11, 20 games a Saturday.
Easy. I think really more than 20 games. But it's, and there's offshoots of that. I think that has really hurt attendance overall.
I do too, Dave.
But if you love college football, I don't think it's hurt the enthusiast who's really passionate about it. They get to see a lot of it. Before we run out of time, I want your thoughts on the passing of Ron Franklin, who at 79 I thought was truly one of the voices of our time.
Ron Franklin, a big figure from Oxford, would often come back to Oxford. I think his mother lived in Oxford up until about 10 or 15 years or so, and was a big figure, was really tight with Darrell Royal when he was voice of the Texas Longhorns, doing football and basketball. But he had some colorful years, covered Abe Lemons as voice of Texas basketball. And then we know Ron Franklin from that TV revolution, from that TV explosion. He was the Saturday night ESPN voice with Mike Gottfried and was really smooth on air. Always, always was a straight shooter. You could not tell if he had a passion for either side. He had a passion for the game, but you could not tell any partiality in his broadcast. And he was just a really nice man. I would send everybody to Twitter today and see the very kind tweet, the voice of the Ole Miss Rebels, David Kellum, who also from Oxford and went way back with Ron Franklin, his family, the tweet that David so nicely sent out.
I'll have to go look at that for sure. I do remember that the voices of the big game for that stretch, and it was about, 7 to 10 years. I can't remember exactly how many. But what Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler are now, that's
right.
That was Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried. They had the game of the week.
They did, and you think of the college football big voices: Brent Musburger, Vern Lundquist, Chris Schenkel, Keith Jackson. Now I think Chris Fowler is certainly in that league, but Ron Franklin was there. I think Sean McDonough's in that league.
Yeah. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think after Musburger sort of got bumped from CBS, well, not sort of, he got bumped from CBS.
Big.
He replaced Franklin on that big game of the week. Isn't that the way that worked? Franklin kind of got bumped for inappropriate comments, and that brought Musburger.
That was a little bit after that.
Oh,
yeah, that was a little bit after that. But Brent Musburger, you're right. I mean, he was sitting in the Butler cabin on Sunday afternoon at the Masters. And then on Monday, I think he did the NCAA finals, and then on Tuesday he was out, or did finals the week before, and then the Masters next week, and then he was out at CBS.
Well, and then they divvied up stuff a lot more. They
did.
The thing was they thought Musburger had too much power, and may have abused that power, and it was a revolution, and the beneficiary was Jim Nance, who holds it today. But Nance doesn't do all the stuff that
absolute power corrupts absolutely, doesn't it?
There you go. That is absolutely for sure. All right, what do you think happens tomorrow night? FedEx Forum.
Well, Tigers are just they're in just a no more margin for error. 69 RPI or net ranking today. SMU will be 64 tomorrow night. Davis, just stunning to me on January 19th, so many things. Tigers with 7 losses. Tigers in 7th place in the AAC. But even more stunning, the AAC is a 1-bid league. And even if it goes to a 2-bid league, the Tigers may not be the recipient of the 2nd bid. You see Houston as a 4, and then you drop all the way down to your 2nd place team as Cincinnati as a 63. And then you have at the very bottom USF at 211. USF, they are ahead of Georgia. Georgia at 230. And that's killing the Tigers. Ole Miss loss killing the Tigers. All those losses are really bad.
Well, I say there's 5. There's really 4 because the Murray State at 30 or in that neighborhood, that's
true.
That's really not as bad a loss.
But it was at home.
It was, but it's not as bad a loss because it's a quad 1 loss. So you're 2-2 in quad 1s. At least you were when I looked yesterday. Last thing,
Wichita State 89th.
I know. Well, they're really first of all, they were handed the championship last year. It still bugs the heck out of me. Last thing for you, hard one. Grizzlies on pace to win 55. Their best winning season is 56. Will they get there? Will they get to 56?
I don't think they will. Preseason, I went high. I had them at 46, my preseason total. That was a little high for around town and from what we had feedback of. No, I don't think they will. But if they do get fit, back at you, hard one. Let's say they do. What seed is that?
That's 3 or 4.
Oh, they're. I think they're 3 at 50 in the low 50s, 50, 51, 52.
Well, you know what?
They're 3 today.
Utah's going to keep pace. So it's just going to come down to them. I don't see them any worse than 4. A 4 or 5 could be Dallas, could be the Lakers.
Well, what will be one in the West? How many wins do you have to be to have the 1 seed in the West by 1 game?
Well, I think it's going to be upper 50s, maybe even 60. By the way, Kansas, Golden State, and Phoenix are playing. I think 1's going to get near 60. 2's going to be upper 50s. 3
have to play against that West.
3 is going to be mid 50s. 4 is going to be over 50.
But the bottom of the West right now has more under 500 teams in playoff contention than the East, but the East is not as top heavy as the West.
No, but that's compelling to watch too.
It is fair fight
between Milwaukee and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And here comes Philly, and they may make a move before the deadline. And the Bulls, if they get healthy, I mean, you look at the Bulls' losing streak, but they've lost 3 key players during this streak: Ball and Zach LaVine
superstar.
and Caruso. So, yeah, I mean, 3 major guys.
Caruso proving he's more than just a headband.
Oh, yeah, he's a good defensive player. He's really good.
11 of the 15 teams in the East have more than 20 wins. 11 of the 15.
Yeah,
that's really good.
That's parity.
It's very compacted. It's a really fair fight. The West is brutal.
No doubt.
Again, but imagine downtown and imagine the next 4 months we have ahead of us.
It's just going to be fun, buddy. It's just going to be fun. I just hope that FedEx Forum gets a lot of W's down the stretch here from both franchises. Thank you, as always. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, Dave.
That is Brett Norsworthy. You're going to listen to him today from 3 to 6 with Gabe. It is a terrific show right here on Sports 56. This portion of the show is brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and, of course, the free furnace. So it's this time of year, I think you know by now, John has done this the last 3 or 4 years, where business is slow, warehouses are full. How do you spark business? You give away a gas furnace. He does that every year. So if you're considering replacing your air conditioning system in the spring, do it now. You're going to get a heck of a deal because you're going to get an 80% Carrier gas furnace for nothing with the purchase of that state-of-the-art Carrier air conditioning system. So you get not just the new technology. John throws in an Aprilaire cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, a free Nest thermostat. That's up to $2,000 in savings, plus the furnace. And you can get it as low as $139 a month or 12 months interest-free. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Back in a minute, we'll end our day, as we always do on Wednesdays, with our friend Jarvis Greer from Action News 5. Jarvo is right around the corner.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Hey, Jeff Allen, it's a new year, and that means time to make your customers happy in 2022 at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
Happy is easy to do with our great savings. I've got a take your pick that will knock your socks off. How about a 2022 Kia Forte LXS or a 2022 Kia Sportage? Your choice, $199 per month.
Forte's $27.99 due at signing, and Sportage is $34.99 due at signing. Plus, all Gossett Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
Plus, a 2022 Kia Sorento $359, only $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Sportage in 702-7277, MSRP 25,460. Forte 8044-2833, MSRP 21,980. Sorento NGO 990119, MSRP 35,340. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 plus finance through KMF. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/3/2022. Dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. 0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or food distributor. Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus in America.
Welcome back in. Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 always ends our Wednesdays, sort of the middle of the week, little pleasure you get. Jarvo, how are you doing this Wednesday morning?
Doing good, Dave. How about you? It's like the weather's starting to turn around again. It's like midnight outside all of a sudden.
Well, let me just say this. It's supposed to get really cold tonight, so Ron Childers is going to have all of your time. You'll have 30 seconds tonight. That'll be it.
You know how the business works.
Yeah,
you know how the business works.
I do. All right. Let me ask you, what do you think about Matt Barnes, and what do you think about Tim Cramsey, the Marshall OC, who, by all accounts, is going to be Memphis's new offensive coordinator?
Okay, we'll start with Matt Barnes first. It's funny when they first started. Hey, Matt Barnes is going to be the new DC at Memphis. What, Matt Barnes from NBA? Matt Barnes, former Grizzly? But no, this guy is coming from Ohio State. He was the interim defensive coordinator since the third game of the season, and they make it all the way to the Rose Bowl and win that. And, he had been a defensive backs coach there for a while, and he had some other good stops along the way. So this guy's a proven commodity coming out of the Big Ten and coming out of one of the biggest schools in the Big Ten. And you like that, and that he would decide to, cast his lot with Memphis. He said he was fairly familiar with the Tigers after seeing us in the Cotton Bowl back in 2019 against another Big Ten opponent, Penn State. And, and that was a weird situation because, remember, the Tigers defensive coordinator left to go with Mike Norvell of Florida State. So it's like everybody was just kind of scrambling around to try to figure out what they were going to do. And but he said he was impressed with how they played, and that the program is headed in a great direction. It's in good hands. He liked his meeting with Coach Silverfield, so there's that. We're happy to have him here in Memphis. And as far as Cramsey is concerned, people say, oh, well, they were kind of middle of the pack and this and that offensively. They really didn't have a good quarterback, a top-notch quarterback at Marshall. So his hands were kind of tied in what they were able to do, but they still scored a lot, and they still put up some good offensive numbers. It's just not like they don't really jump off the page, but they were kind of limited with their personnel.
Well, they were 17th in the country in offense. They averaged 33 points a game. The quarterback had 3,300 yards.
What I'm hearing is that that there was some grumbling among the fans that they went like first in Conference USA and first in this, that, and first in that in the league that they were in. And I thought they did pretty well for what they had. Marshall's got a pretty good reputation overall.
Well, this
it's been
guy
a good program,
developed
both
two-
offensively and defensively.
Both Isaiah Green and I think his name is Bubba Wells or something like that.
Yeah.
They were both freshmen of the year in their conferences. He's developed quarterbacks, and you go back to 2017, and Houston State was number 1 in the country in about 6 different offensive categories. I think the guy's mind is outstanding. I really do.
Yeah, well, it's another one of those up-and-comers who believes he's taking a step up and coming to Memphis. And you got to hope, you got to think that that's true, first of all, and that, there are some weapons here for him to keep developing, with the quarterback situation, apparently in good hands with Seth Hennigan. And also, they brought in the running back off of the transfer portal from Northern Illinois, who looks like he was freshman of the year?
Freshman of the year in the MAC, yeah, sure was.
Yeah, so
1,100 yards.
Yeah, so I think most of the Tigers' problems were the lack of a running game the last couple of years. What do you say? And that hopefully you get that problem solved, then you start rolling and really looking like Memphis football.
Well, they also have another recruit, a kid out of Texas, I believe, that one of the coaches told me is literally faster than Kenny Gainwell. So if you got Ducker and you've got him and you've got Brandon Thomas coming back, you've got Asa Martin coming back, you've got Dree Clark coming back, you should have a pretty solid backfield. You should have a pretty solid line with all those returning offensive linemen, including Myers, who's going to take the COVID year. So you lost Parham, but you hopefully somebody else steps up. You got 4 returning starters. The one area of concern for me with the loss of Dykes and Calvin Austin is your receiving core. You're probably going to need to go portal on that.
I would say so. You got Javon Ivory coming back, who had a good year. He really had after a slow start, he really came on big there for a minute, and then kind of because the Tigers couldn't run the ball. And then Calvin Austin was hurt. He got kind of more pedestrian offensively as the year went along when it got late in the season. But, you got some good guys that are still there, and that, you hope that the new offensive coordinator can take advantage of the guys that are there. And since he does develop talent, let's hope he develops some of the young guys coming, like Kai Matthews and some of the other kids that are coming.
All right, let me switch topics real quick before we run out of time. I asked this of Brett, and I'm going to ask it of you. It's a hard one. The Grizzlies are on pace to win 55, and they got the second easiest of all the NBA schedules left of all the teams. Their franchise,
This week's
this week's tough, and you're down Bain and Anderson too, and Brooks. The franchise record is 56. Will they get to 56?
Oh, that's tough. I guess. How do you put anything past this team? Because it's been plug and play since, when John Morant first got hurt.
Yeah.
Just 12 games. They just, somebody else steps in and steps up, and they just keep rolling. But, when you're down Bain and Brooks and Kyle Anderson going into this stretch here where, I think they're 9 of their 10 here. So I guess they got 5 of those left. Most of those games are against teams that are above 500. And they're on the road for 4 straight here.
Right.
So I think a lot is going to tell how they come out of this stretch. But if they play like they're playing, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put 60 wins past them.
Ooh.
If they keep playing like they're playing. And that would really be something, wouldn't it? But, no, I think there's going to be more games where you're going to get more people in the protocol and you're going to get some people that are just going to rest as they go along here. But they have so many people that can play and have played well that I'd say the odds are that they can make it. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. What did you say? You think they'll do it?
I think
that's tough, man.
That's why it's called a high hard one. I tend to think because of this stretch, it will be hard for them to do it. But it's hard to it really is hard to count them out. Jarvo, as always, we'll do it again next week. Thank you much. I'll be watching your 30 seconds tonight.
Okay, maybe we'll get a little bit more.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I hope so.
Okay, thanks.
That's Jarvis Greer from Action News 5. He's brought to you by Old Dominic, the proud partner of the Tigers. Yeah, they are. They remind everybody, share a sip responsibly if you're going to the game tomorrow night. Or even if you're, watching somewhere and you're going to go home. Even tonight for the Grizz. They're a hometown partner, and they're unique. They're the only distillery in town that has a beautiful tour. It's a 45-minute sensory journey. It begins with a history lesson of old Domenico Canale, and then you get a real close-up view of how they do this craft from grain to glass, how they distill, and then it ends with a curated tasting of Old Dominic spirits. That is fantastic. Go check out availability of tours very simply by going to olddominic.com. They also have this really great after-hours bar with mixologists. If you fancy an old-fashioned or you want to try the portfolio of spirits, head to Old Dominic. We thank Jarvis. We thank Stats. We'll do this again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know,